Welcome to our final day, day 22, and we're going to talk about reindeer. As we've seen in this series, Santa's sleigh can be considered as a fantastical representation of the spiritual ascension vehicle, which is our DNA. Just as DNA spirals within the cells of the body, the Milky Way galaxy can be seen as a larger cosmic spiral. The spiral arms of galaxies resemble the twisting double helix of DNA, suggesting a fractal relationship between cosmic structures, the macrocosm, and the body's microstructures. Meaning the galaxy itself serves as a macrocosmic ascension vehicle, guiding the evolution of consciousness on a larger collective scale. This is all of us. And it's similar to how DNA governs cellular evolution within us as individuals. So this begs the question, if Santa's sleigh relates to DNA, what do reindeer represent? Firstly, it's worth noting that Santa's sleigh wasn't always pulled by reindeer. The Roman god Saturn, closely associated with the winter solstice and the festival of Saturnalia, explored on day 15 of this series, was often shown travelling through the heavens on a type of chariot or sleigh called a quadriga. And that was actually pulled by winged serpents or dragons. These creatures are yet more symbols of the twisting sides of the DNA double helix. The ancient deer mother figure, who predates Santa and his reindeer, pulled her own sleigh. In various cultures, the deer mother was believed to fly through the longest night of winter, so the beginning of solstice, carrying the life-giving sun back to the world in her antlers. And her antlers were actually a metaphor for the sun's rays, I guess, because the sun looks like antlers in the way that light assimilates, like lightning, and the way we see it in tree branches and other forms in nature as well. Sleigh, the god of the sun in Lithuanian and Latvian myths, rode across the sky in a chariot pulled by horned reindeer, and as far as I can tell, this is the first reindeer version in history. Interestingly, only female reindeer keep their antlers during winter, so yeah, Rudolph even is a girl. But I would say that the femininity of the reindeer could point to the female characteristics of the moon, and how Santa, or solar light, rides moonbeams towards Earth because the moon is so essential for filtering and diluting solar energy and making life on Earth possible. If the sun weren't to ride the moon, then the sun would frazzle us and we'd all be decapitated. So that's a possible interpretation there. Sleigh, this is really cool, was also known to throw pebbles of amber, symbolizing the sun's warmth and light, into chimneys as gifts of light and warmth for the dark winter. So Sleigh was flying through the sky on her sleigh, pulled by female reindeer, throwing pebbles of amber down people's chimneys, and this clearly reflects the idea of Santa bringing gifts and solar light and presents and everything else down chimneys. Chandra, the Vedic god of the moon, is a very significant figure in Hindu mythology and is often depicted as a radiant deity riding a chariot. As a moon god, Chandra is closely associated with the fluidic soul body. with lunar time cycles, emotions, and the direction of cosmic energies into Earth's electromagnetic field, as well as into our own bodies, because as we just said, the moon is that vehicle for filtering solar energy to make it usable for us. Chandra's sleigh is traditionally illustrated being pulled by 10 white horses or 2 antelope, yet another form of horned beast. The 10 horses are said to represent the 10 senses featured in Hindu philosophy, which again links Chandra and the moon to the mastery of mind and emotion. Another interesting example of animal imagery around the Christmas period is seen with the impala, which is one of Africa's most adaptable and elegant antelopes, another type of horned beast. The impala has naturally become a subject of stories, proverbs, and spiritual beliefs in African tales and folklore. Now, what's cool about the horned impala is that it visually resembles the ganglion impar of anatomy. So you've got the ganglion impar resembling an impala, a type of horned beast. And the similarities in their names really is an interesting parallel. I don't know if that's a coincidence or not. The ganglion impar is a small unpaired structure found at the bottom of the sympathetic nerve chain, located near the coccyx, and it's synergistic with what we call the house of Kundalini at the base of the spine, the basket where the Kundalini snake is coiled. In addition to the resemblance between the impala's horns and the form of the ganglion impar, the sacral bone that its nerves or reins weave into has 8 holes. So the nerves that come out of the ganglion impar weave into these 8 holes of the sacral bone. And I think that these 8 holes might relate to the fact that there's 8 reindeer in popular historical tradition before Rudolph came into the equation. In this scenario, Rudolph would be the 9th reindeer with his bright red nose, which may correspond with the ganglion impar, which would be seen to indeed light the way for Kundalini. The horned beast analogy, derived from the forms and shapes of procreative anatomy, as we've seen throughout this series, isn't necessarily a bad or negative symbol. As long as the correct interpretations are made and the initiate takes care to liberate themselves from the influence of the carnal mind or beast, it can actually be a useful reminder, and we can actually harness it and ride it ourselves rather than letting it ride us, so to speak. And then we have Odin, the chief god in Norse mythology, and he rode the 8-legged horse Sleipnir. Now, Sleipnir had the ability to travel between material and spiritual worlds, so 3D and 5D plus, matter and the light world. This highlights again the number 8. So the 8-legged horse, the 8 holes in that sacral bone, the 8 reindeer originally. And this also may be because 8 is a very significant number in DNA generation as well, because the DNA double helix actually makes a complete turn approximately every 8 base pairs or nucleotides. So there's another very significant meaning for the number 8 there. And of course 8 is linked to the idea of everlasting energy, as well as that form of the number 8 on regeneration. So I really hope that you have enjoyed this cosmic Christmas Advent series. It's been fun to look at all these subjects in a bit more detail, and to really remember the importance of Christmas and of the Advent period. And by now, we are in solstice. It's the 22nd, so that withdrawal that's happening again mimics within us. So on the 25th there can be a rebirth. And like we started this series by saying, the nativity is absolutely individual. It is necessary for Christ to be born in each one of us. That is the true spiritual rebirth. So sending you mistletoe and lots of cosmic kisses to you and yours. Thank you so much for journeying with me and for all of your comments and continued support. And I just send you so much love and light always. And in always, as I always say, loads of love. Merry Christmas.